We at the Least Haunted Podcast stand with those of the LGBTQIA+ community and especially want to voice our support for the trans community, masculine, feminine, non-binary, and every other of the beautiful assortment of people who are going through so much vitriol and hate in these difficult times.
We welcome you to join our friendly and supportive Discord, and if you want to help support the community or need help yourself, we fully endorse the Trans Lifeline at translifeline.org. We can get through this together.
You are all deserving of life and love, and remember,
The world is more beautiful with you in it.
Hello, dig for bones.
Hello, and welcome to the Least Haunted Podcast, a place where science, skepticism, humor, and anthropology meet to discuss all things spooky, haunting, supernatural, and sometimes just the plain ridiculous. I'm your host, Cody Franks, and joining me as almost always is a witty wizard who wallops werewolves with wonderful words and waving waterproof weights against whites while whistling.
Garth, hi. That's me.
That was from Rain Zacket.
Thank you, Rain
Discord.
Zacket. Oh my gosh. Well, it's great to be back. I had a nice trip through the American Southwest. I learned to be a folk singer, and now I'm back.
Oh, I know that was what you were doing.
Oh, that's like Bender. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I met Beck, and yeah. Anyway, I had a great time. It's so nice to be back. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
All right.
I think we covered that in the Polterbites, but
Well, most people aren't going to hear the Polterbites. That's very exclusive. You have
Yes.
to give us like $1 a month or something.
premium content.
That's premium content. But welcome to everyone else to the Least Haunted Podcast. We're happy to be here. We have to always say things at the beginning here?
Yeah, we shout out that we have our Patreon. So
We
if
have
you
to
wanted
remember-
to hear the Polterbites, you'd have
Yeah.
to join Patreon.
The Polterbites is mostly me talking about my trip to see many sites over about 12 days, and then we digress into talking about anthropology and human stuff.
This time. I mean, not every time.
No, this was the last time,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we generally digress into talking about anthropology and human-related stuff in
Yeah,
every
philosophy.
polter. Yeah. That's sort of the direction it trends toward. But that was a fun time, and had a great time doing all that, and I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, we shout out the Discord.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Uh,
we do that too. So let's do that. All
yeah.
right, Discord.
Join our Discord.
Join our Discord. 52 members strong.
Okay.
Yeah, those are all the things.
Those are the things out of the way.
Oh yeah. Let's do the topic. What is the topic?
It's been a while since we've you and I have recorded.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
this one.
Cody's rubbing his head already. You texted me last night and you're like, dude, I have a raging headache from research. And I was
Yeah,
like, you
it's-
researched too much. And he's like, no, it wasn't too much. It was just aggravating.
Yeah. So
how are you feeling there, buddy?
this time, at least, I didn't read a whole book.
Oh, good.
If I had to read a whole book, although there are many, I would. Yeah.
You'd be psychotic. You'd have
Yeah,
a
no, actually,
collapse.
Allison on Saturday looked over and she was worried and she told me that I needed to take a break because of my blood pressure.
Oh, no.
And so I'm coming in hot, Garth.
Oh
is
boy.
the-
Okay. Well, I'll see if I can match that with my cool indifference. I don't know.
We're going up a beanstalk.
Are we going up a beanstalk?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me ask you, have
Okay,
you ever heard of
Yeah.
the Kandahar Giant?
Kandahar?
Yes.
I've heard of Kandahar.
Okay.
It's
let's-
a province.
Yes, of where?
I don't know.
Afghanistan.
Yes, that's right. The
Let's-
Kandahar is a province in Afghanistan. I
Yes.
guess a province is similar to like a state
Yeah.
or a prefecture in Japan.
Yeah.
Every country divides itself up with its own things.
In the last episode, we talked about a generalité that was a French
Right.
region.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So this is Kandahar province in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
and there was a giant there. I have not heard about this. No.
Was there a giant there? Let's discuss.
Okay.
Okay, so the
that's
story-
basically what this episode's about. All right.
So the story starts in
Story time.
Yes.
Bup. It's story time. Go ahead, Cody.
the story is, I shouldn't say starts. The story is
Okay.
that in the year 2002, during Operation Enduring Freedom,
Of course they called it
Oh.
something like that.
in Kandahar province of Afghanistan, a special forces unit was tasked with trying to find out what happened to another special forces unit that disappeared.
And this sounds like the beginning of an episode of adventure show of some kind.
So they head up high into the mountains, and while looking around, they find a cave. And all around the cave are pieces of U.S. Special Forces equipment scattered around and bones.
Look at the bones!
And as they get
Whoa.
and as they get close to the
Holy
cave,
cow.
suddenly out of
There's a
its
giant burp comes out of the cave.
out of the cave steps a humanoid figure that is at least 12 foot tall.
Wow.
With flaming red hair and beard.
Whoa.
It wields a spear and is holding, looks like a Roman shield.
Hardcore.
Yeah, and before they
Yeah.
can much react, it fucking uses the spear and throws it through one of the guys, a guy named Dan.
Whoa, Dan.
And he goes down, and then the Special Forces guys just open up with all their weapons. They got 50, they claim 50 calibers and stuff like that. And,
Okay.
and in 30 seconds, they just mow this thing down.
Oh, no.
Did you ever see the movie Strange Wilderness with Steve Zahn?
No.
Similar, okay, spoilers, but similar thing happens to Bigfoot coming out of a cave.
That's what I was about to say. Like this sounds like a unique thing. They just riddle it full of bullets.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
on closer inspection of the corpse, they say it smells terrible. It appears to be wearing moccasins made out of canvas. It has 6 fingers on each hand, and 6 toes,
Oh, very
and
nice.
2 rows of teeth in its mouth.
That's some hard flossing. I feel like you get a lot of shit stuck between the rows.
And then it's quickly loaded onto a Chinook helicopter, and then is whisked away. And then all members of this unit are made to sign NDAs, and it's covered up.
Of course.
But we know about it.
You can't let the wider world know about the 12-foot tall, red-headed, red-bearded.
And that's it, man. That's the story of the giant of Kandahar.
Wow. Well,
Kandahar
that
Giant.
sure was interesting.
Short
I
episode.
hope you enjoyed the Least Haunted podcast. Join us next week.
But hold on.
What?
Wait, no. So that is the extent of the actual story.
Okay.
And this story shows up on the internet in the year 2016.
Okay, so this is several years later. This happened in 2002.
Yeah.
Apparently. Okay.
And then after this appearance on the internet, and I'm going to have to unpack this, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but I'm just giving you we're going to tell the quick version of the story, then we'll go back in and look at it closer. So after the 2016, it then spreads virally on the internet, becoming the fodder and subject of many YouTube videos.
Oh, okay.
And then, the story just gets repeated and repeated, but it's always this same original story with slight embellishments. Like suddenly the giant is now 15 feet tall, not
It's
12.
not that much of a difference.
Yeah, still that's pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
As near as I can tell, trying to dig into this, the earliest reference to this story that I could find occurred Wednesday, December 3rd, 2008.
Okay, so
In a specific medium. And this is
Uh-huh.
where we're gonna see some recurring faces on this show,
Okay.
and we're gonna meet some new villains that are gonna, I
Oh.
think, become. We have a rogues gallery of villains for Least Haunted.
yes.
They
They are all our nemesis.
your
They-
Warrens,
and
your
they've-
Sylvia Browns.
They've never heard of us.
Yeah, Zach Bagans,
They loom large.
and this Art Bell from our Time Traveler episode.
Oh, yeah.
and
Art
his
Bell.
radio show
Yeah.
Coast to Coast.
I remember this.
So in December, on December 3rd, 2008, he has a guest, this guy, Steve Quayle, who I will tell you, this is the show notes from that episode. They have it online, but you have to pay a subscription to listen to it. And I tried finding it on the Internet Archive and on YouTube, but this specific episode can't be found.
Okay.
But here's the show notes from coasttocoastam.com. Don't sue me.
This is public knowledge.
Researcher Steve Quayle discussed the world's escalating flashpoints in his new work on giants. Regarding the multiple areas of growing tension in today's society, Quayle said, quote, "I think a lot of the people who have been living in denial now have to admit that things are really getting absurd and dangerous in the world," end quote.
People are always saying that.
This is about when the 2008 banking collapse was happening, Wall
Oh,
Street
yeah.
collapse. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
talk a lot about money and America, and the Steve Quayle guys will find out he does a lot of crazy biblical predictions and stuff.
Okay.
But here we go. This is where it gets really important. In the second half of the interview, this is from the Coast to Coast website, he talked about his latest research into giants. Quayle alleged that shadowy elements of the government are keeping giants in suspended animation at secret labs in order to study their genetics. According to his sources, the body temperature of the giants, quote, runs around 120 to 130 degrees, and that, quote, these guys can go 40 miles per hour in just 2 steps, end quote.
Well, okay, so they can speed up quickly.
Yes, they can go from 0 to 40
That took me a second
in
to
2
think
steps.
about what that meant. Okay, got it.
So they basically go to cheetah speeds in 2 steps.
Right. Long strides.
Quayle was later joined by an anonymous pilot who claimed to have transported a dead giant shot by the military while stationed in Afghanistan.
Oh, there's our man.
He estimated that the creature was, quote, 12 feet tall, give or take, and, quote, around 1,100 pounds.
Whoa.
The pilot noted that the being had 6 fingers on each hand and his feet were adorned with rudimentary shoes made of canvas. According to what his superiors told him, the giant body was eventually transloaded back to base in Ohio.
Ohio.
So here we have the very first documented case of this story being shared.
And there are a
I
lot of specifics that indicate this is the same story.
And I mean, if we could listen to the story, if we actually listen to the clip, we could. I'm sure it would give us all the details we need to know.
Yeah.
But there also are a few things that kind of remind me of earlier stories.
Well, we had the Cardiff Giant.
Well,
that was old.
This detail about being transloaded back to a base.
That's a funny term.
The Minnesota Iceman, remember, was supposedly shot by soldiers in Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
And then was shipped secretly back to the U.S. and eventually ended up in the Carnival Sideshow. But that's an earlier existing example of a story of, hey, somebody in a war zone shoots a cave creature.
Right. And then it gets transported back to the States.
So, yeah, there's echoes of earlier stories that are here. The mention, I don't see a mention here of it having red hair, but that seems to be a repeated detail of people who've heard this story.
Okay.
Probably here and elsewhere, this detail of red hair. That, I think, is added to try and tie it into another story, which is that of Nevada. I'm not going to go too much into that, as I've said before when this came up in our other giant episode.
We'll do an episode on.
Well, I've reached out to the local Paiute tribe in that area to see if I can get input from them. That was a weird sound.
Oh, there's water coming into the wall. That's because I have a sprinkler going, and apparently the wall is saturatable. Oh. Maybe I should go turn that off.
Yeah, you want to go turn that
Go ahead and finish your story about the Paiutes first.
So I wrote them a very nice email laying out who we were and just basically saying that I would like their permission before I actually discuss this story.
Oh, yeah, that's always
and
a good
that
way
we
to
would,
go.
yeah, and if they tell me no, then out of respect, we will not.
We'll just, okay.
But just suffice to say that there's a detail involving red hair and giants tied to this other story. So I think they mix that detail in to try and tie it to this other story about giants, because as we're going to find out, it's all about giants and it's all a giant pile of bullshit.
Oh, no.
But go turn off
I wasn't
your sprinkler.
expecting that. I'm going to go turn off my sprinkler and get my head together here. Covered in water, Garth returns. Hi, everybody. It's wet Garth.
So this Steve Quayle guy, who's he?
Is he related to Dan Quayle?
No.
That's the only Quayle I know of.
But according to SteveQuayle.com, Steve Quayle, trademark. Wow, his name's fucking trademarked. I hope we don't get sued.
I ought to do that. I should trademark
Stephen
Garth.
Quayle, trademark, is a nationally known radio host, photographer, and author of a number of important books, including Breathe No Evil, a primer for understanding bioterrorism, first published in 1996. Additionally, he has authored, and then it lists off, Angel Wars, Humanity Hangs in the Balance with Secret Powerful Forces Against It, Giants, Master Builders of Prehistoric and Ancient Civilizations, Long Walkers, The Return of the Nephilim, Blueprint for Survival, Investment Perspective on Precious Metals. Because he's got
interesting range here.
Well, apparently the investment perspectives on precious metals is how he and these other guys we're going to meet fund all their crazy bullshit.
Giants in economics. Yeah.
Is that they sell gold and like gold investment opportunities because it's this kind of conspiracy shit.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Okay.
He also claims to be he can predict things through biblical readings.
Oh, right. Okay.
So here, the following are some of the more dramatic events Quayle identified long before mainstream news even had a clue, according to his website. Stated in 1997 that the following year would bring unprecedented temperatures approaching 130 degrees. In June of 1998, in India, there was a 129-degree temperature. So he was right.
Okay. Hey.
Declared
All
1
right.
year prior to the microburst that touched down in Root National Forest near Steamboat Springs, Colorado, that we would see winds approaching 350 miles per hour. Scientists said wind speeds of this magnitude were not possible. 200-year-old trees over 30 miles stretch snapped like matches.
Like
Scientists
matches.
estimate that the jet streamers forced down for a split second, wreaking havoc and devastation equaled only to that of the Tunguska meteor strike.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay.
Oh, this one might interest you, Garth. He was the first to detail for the public Gabriel's Fist, an asteroid coming toward Earth out of Pegasus and on a near collision course with Earth.
That is the best name for an asteroid I've ever heard. Gabriel's Fist.
And now the world's brightest scientists meet monthly to discuss their plans of what we're going to do and
my
how to
gosh.
inform the American people.
Yeah, that's
It's got them
whenever-
quaking in their boots.
Whenever an asteroid's on its way, you better believe all of the scientists of the world get together secretly and ask each other what they're going to do about relating it to the public.
So yeah,
They're
then-
so organized.
So there's like a list of another
Okay.
dozen or so specific things, and then it ends with Steve is uncannily accurate in his work concerning the hybrid engineering.
Uh-oh.
Now this website, it looks like a early 2000s site.
Does it have little repeating GIFs and a very scattershot
Well, how about the
background?
text? How about a black background with
Yeah.
headers in blue and the text is in yellow?
Hell yeah. Oh, I miss the old days. Yes.
No, it made me really nostalgic
It's
for the
beautiful.
old days, but unfortunately,
Lots of different fonts and random italics.
So I think Steve Quayle, he might have passed away
Okay.
since, but
Rest in peace, Steve.
he is specifically cited by the next two chuckleheads who are going to carry this story forward. And this is where the 2016 date enters in.
Okay.
So if you look up the Kandahar Giant,
Okay.
Snopes and various other sources will tell you that it was in a now redacted video in 2016 that was posted on YouTube,
They redact videos?
or like it had been taken down.
Oh.
Since deleted, I should say.
Oh, I see,
Like
see.
retracted, I meant to say. Sorry, not redacted, retracted.
Okay.
Video by this man, L.A. Marzulli.
L.A. Marzulli.
Now, L.A. Marzulli, who's L.A. Marzulli? It's hard to figure out where he fucking comes from originally. According to IMDb, he's a producer, writer, and composer.
Oh, okay.
He's known for The Watchers, which was a documentary, air quotes, in the same way the Missing 411 is a air quote documentary,
Okay.
that he self-wrote and produced in 2010 with this guy, Richard Shaw.
Okay.
And it examines theories about UFOs and entities and paranormal stuff, but it ends up all tying them to biblical stuff.
Okay.
And this is where we're going to get into this interesting thing of when UFO and paranormal conspiracy theories merge with biblical Christian theology and conspiracy
Oh,
theories.
that's
It's
interesting.
a turd merger.
But, as so often happens, the poop rolled together and two became one. A turd merger, fused together by fear and hatred.
That's interesting. Okay, yeah, okay. We've danced around this sort of thing in the past.
Yeah,
I'd like
that's
to
where we're
explore
going.
that more. Right on. Okay, interesting.
So I think when we talked about the Cardiff Giant, I briefly scratched the surface on this idea about how you have people who believe in biblical giants.
Right. Well, in the Old Testament, there were giants before the flood, right?
Yes, in Genesis 6, it said there were
Right.
giants on the earth that time, and that they were the sons of fallen angels or sons of God's children who would then
Right.
crossbred with human women.
Right. That's right. And they couldn't swim.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Or actually they do because, spoiler, they're
Some-
still here, Garth.
Oh.
For example, in caves in Kandahar.
It all makes sense. Okay, got it.
So when you see people promoting, this is just, I want to get this out of the way. It's a kind of super spoiler. When you see anybody talking about the Kandahar Giant online or on their YouTube channel, they are most likely unknowingly pushing propaganda from extreme right-wing Bible literalist Christians.
But not us.
No.
Because we're talking about
We're explaining
them doing
what
this.
we're telling you.
All right.
It's all bullshit.
This is the one time you're going to hear. Okay, got it.
And there's certain details in the Kandahar Giant story that are biblical. For example, the 6 fingers and 6 toes.
Is that a thing in the Bible?
So thank you to Discord member Rainzacket for helping me find this, because I did not know this. But First Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 6, talks about a Canaanite giant maybe related to Goliath, but not Goliath.
Okay.
And it even says that he is descended from giants. And they're very adamant that he has 6 fingers on each hand.
Okay, got it.
Polydactyl.
Mm-hmm.
Now, polydactyly is an actual genetic thing that can happen where people can have 6 digits on a hand. And giganticism is also a genetic thing that can happen.
Sure,
It's
sure.
extremely rare, but it can happen.
Not maybe 12 feet, but yeah.
No, I think
Some
the
people
tallest person ever recorded was what's his name?
9 feet, maybe.
And that was due to a tumor on his pituitary gland.
Oh.
So that wasn't even genetic. In fact, like most of the living people who exceed 7 feet today, who are tall, are not tall because of giganticism. It's like a different thing completely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Andre the Giant. Now there was a giant of a man.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Anybody want a peanut?
So this is a biblical story that mentions a giant that has 6 fingers. So now if we say that this one's got 6 fingers, that ties to this earlier thing. And so Steve Quayle inspires L.A. Marzulli and Shaw they start making movies and writing books. They start getting more and more into the giants, or as they call them, the Nephilim. Mm-hmm. That's what they're called. And they rely heavily on an apocryphal book that's not part of the canonical Bible. And these are the books of Enoch.
Okay.
They're Jewish apocrypha, and they are not considered canon even in that. But supposedly Enoch was the grandfather of Noah. He's the father of Methuselah.
Okay. We're back in Genesis still. This is the early days.
Yes.
Okay.
And he details the Nephilim and like fallen angels and stuff like that. And so they go off of that. And L.A. Marzulli, if you go to his website, it is just purely trying to sell you. Well, he has a YouTube show. He has so much content now that he has a streaming service where you can just stream
You can just
L.A.
watch
Marzulli
24/7.
Yes. He has like, I think over 14 different books that he has written that retail for, about $21.99.
What a prolific man.
For $100, you can actually get an 11 DVD set that it encompasses all the to-date documentaries he's done on the trail of the Nephilim.
Wow.
So his credentials, he claims that he has an honorary PhD from the Pacific International University.
Okay.
Honorary.
And
this is honorary degree doctorate was bestowed on him because of his work that he had done in researching the Nephilim.
Okay.
By one of his mentors.
Got it.
So I was like, well, what's up with this Pacific International University? Wikipedia. What do you
I've never
say?
heard of this.
Hey, Wikipedia. And Wikipedia says Pacific International University was an unaccredited evangelical Christian diploma mill college located in Springfield, Missouri. So the school was founded in 1980.
Let's go get an honorific credential from them.
It's interesting. It's also Pacific, but it's on the other side of the Continental Divide. It's in Missouri.
That's really weird.
Yeah, right. So it was founded in 1980. The school offered bachelor's degrees. You could be a master's of biblical studies, a master of divinity. There were 5 religious doctoral degrees: doctor of ministry, doctor of biblical studies, doctor of Christian education, doctor of theology, and doctor of theological studies. None of this was accredited. In fact, you didn't even have to attend. You just had to pay.
Oh, wow. How convenient.
Well, you could get the degree if you paid a fee and then you got your pastor to write a letter of recommendation for you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so not legit, but I think it's really telling that this guy, not only does he, it's an honorary degree from a diploma mill. He didn't even pay the diploma mill for a diploma.
They usually when it's honorary, they decide to give it to you because you've already become noteworthy enough. They're like, hey.
Yeah.
honorary degree. Okay.
Oh, and also, this is fun. Shots fired. I hope we get some heat on this because he notoriously goes after people and calls them out and fucking gets vendettas with people who call him a hack. And hey, dude, you're a fucking hack.
All right. Good. Cody's,
and I'm gonna
Cody's stirring the pot here.
And we're going to get more into what a hack you are, L.A. Marzulli, if you're listening, and your crazy theories. And we're also going to spend a little time looking at Shaw and his theories, too. But first, we got to go dig for some giant bones, Garth.
All right. I'm just going to try to find one bone that's a giant bone. Maybe a rib bone. Maybe a femur bone. Maybe a spine bone. Maybe a skull bone.
Okay, bones.
Howdy, I'm Luke from the Howdy Beans podcast, a variety podcast where I look into topics each week into the world of pop culture, like book reviews, where I delve deep into the expanded universe of Doctor Who, or a movie review on the 1998 cult classic The Mummy, or if you're very lucky, I might take a peek under the hood of video games both new and old. So what are you waiting for? Check out the Howdy Beans podcast now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else that you may find your podcast, and I'll see you very soon.
What was that laugh? I asked myself. I'm trying to recreate that as much as possible. I don't think I've ever laughed like that in my life. That was new. What is that? This is my new laugh for 2024. New year, new laugh.
We have a spanking new podcast for your ear holes called Doom Generation.
Available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Later, Doomers.
Here's some bread.
Hey!
Here's a banana, and here's some string cheese.
I will pass on the banana. That is my most despised fruit.
No banana for Cody.
I hate bananas.
All right. We got to stop the episode completely. Cody hates bananas. We're back from digging for bones. Before we get to the story, what's up with you hating bananas, man?
Which is weird because I'll eat banana bread. I like things that are artificially banana flavored. But no, I think there's two things I really hate, and that's bologna sandwiches and bananas. And it's because I went to a preschool.
You don't like bees.
I went to a preschool at a time when it was like acceptable that if the child doesn't like the thing, you force feed them. And I had somebody physically shove it in my mouth.
So you had traumatic banana experiences as a young age.
And now
Would you like some water?
Oh, no, I got a drink.
Okay.
No, yeah, they just gross me out. I have a visceral.
They do have
smell,
a certain texture.
The texture. Also, I don't like squishy fruits.
Will it bother you if I eat this banana over here? Okay. Oh, those were some bones, weren't they? Holy cow. What bones?
Well, they may have been giant bones, but they were probably covered up. This is where I have to, I've got to take off the mask.
You know what, Cody? I've been thinking this whole time, why are you wearing that thing?
Well, here's the deal. According to L.A. Marzulli, myself, friend of the show, Dr. Tim King.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Balze.
All anthropoologists.
Yeah. We are all part of a secret cabal and conspiracy to hide proof of giants, biblical giants.
Cody, what's the deal with that?
Headquartered out of the Smithsonian Institute, which was founded specifically for this conspiracy.
To stop people knowing about the giants.
Because if people know about the giants, then they'll know the Bible's true and they won't believe what he calls the humanist myth of evolution and science.
Okay. I see.
And that is because one of his many credentials that he claims is that he was to find out about him, I had to go to a weird place on his website. It's not, if you go to his website, the number one thing that pops up, like on your choices on the header, shop, stream. And when you go to the stream, it's like, well, you have to buy a subscription.
Shop for the stream.
Watch is just his YouTube videos where he's advertising there. So he's making money. Conferences that he goes to, and then you can donate to him or you can book him.
Lots of money-related things, yes.
Yes. And let's see, he says that he was honored with the Gold Medallion Award from Chuck Missler at the K-House Conference in 2014. I'm like, what the fuck is the K-House? So I have to
Never heard of it.
The K-House, founded by Chuck and Nancy Missler, is they claim to be a nonprofit organization that it's like a ministry It's kind of culty, especially when you see their statement of faith.
Okay.
Oh, our mission statement: to create, develop, and distribute materials to stimulate, encourage, facilitate serious study of the Bible as the inerrant Word of God. And then here's the statement of faith. This is their this is on their website. This is when you ask, "Who are you guys?" This is what comes out. The Bible is the very Word of God, is inerrant in its original autographs, and is fully and totally and uniquely reliable as the primary guide to all actions and commitments.
Oh, boy.
That Jesus Christ is God incarnate, become man to fulfill a destiny on our behalf, was crucified, buried, and bodily resurrected, is presently seated on his Father's throne, and will soon return to establish his kingdom on the planet Earth.
Okay.
That in the meantime, the Holy Spirit is uniquely active in pursuing his mission and calling, equipping, and empowering believers, and is essential for any and all pursuance to be fruitful and effective.
Okay. So these are hardliners. Okay.
Yeah, they also call people who are members are Bereans, Bereans, Bereans. There's no pronunciation. They just say it refers to the people of whom Acts 17:11 speaks. And they said, these were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scripture daily, whether those things were so. So they're obsessed with going through Bible scriptures.
Because it's inerrant.
And finding things that explain what's happening in the world today.
Right.
Because the Bible is the only lens through which you can examine anything in the world around us or our current times and events. Anything must be drawn from the Bible. And apparently this also includes the Apocrypha, like the Book of Enoch.
Oh, okay.
Because that's where we get all the talk about
Nephilim.
Nephilim.
Yeah. So not only the Bible, but the other related Bible parts. Okay.
Now, if I go to L.A. Marzulli's website and you go to watch, and they have categories. I'm just going to go down to the one that pertains the most to our discussion now, because there's a lot we can get into with this guy. This is going to be a font that keeps just producing waves of shit that we can sift through in the future.
That sounds like such a fun experience.
Oh, here we go. I'm just going to give you some of the names of his videos. Bigfoot are Nephilim.
Oh, okay. Sure. That's reasonable. Yeah.
L.A. Marzulli presents Bigfoot are Nephilim remnants. And then there's the deliberate hiding of Nephilim from mankind. He takes this approach where everything, megalithic structures, anything that's
everything
big,
was built by giants.
The pyramids. Oh, and because the Bible is accurate, the earth can only be, he says, they allow for it to be a little bit older than 5,000 years, because he says that maybe this was 12,000 years ago is when the Nephilim were fighting people.
I think that's what Sarah Palin said. She was like, "Oh, it's not 6,000 years old; it's 10,000." Oh yeah, she's very reasonable.
Yeah, and so
what a nice compromise between that and 13 billion years.
So I watched a video of him and I want to make sure I get the guy's name right, because I'm gonna fucking talk shit. I might as well,
Well, yeah, you better
do better than he does. Richard Shaw. So I watched them being interviewed on another religious YouTube channel that was called Prophet Watchers. And it's a daily or weekly YouTube show of religious. They're like, here's the things in the news that are proof of prophecy.
Oh, boy.
And so they're being interviewed on that show. And this is I'm paraphrasing here, but it's pretty accurate to what Marzulli says to the host. Well, as you know, 3,500 years ago, when Joshua and Caleb entered into, I think it's Canaan, or into the Levant, they found the Nephilim were already living there. And then there was what we call a diaspora, as the giants were driven out, and they headed in all directions to cause all the giant stories that we have.
Oh, I see.
And especially they headed north, and then through Europe, and then into England for a while before into North America.
Well, they swam. Yeah, they swam to
I thought
Greenland.
they couldn't swim. How they survived the ark?
Okay, they flowed. They enlisted Vikings.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Then they get to North America, where they survive for a long time in North and South America, and they build the mound city of Cahokia.
They probably built. They built all the stuff that I saw on my road trip.
And it's funny is he says this and he goes, but I mean, I don't need to tell you. We've already discussed this.
Yeah, this is, everyone knows this.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck? And then him and Shaw repeat the story of the Kandahar Giant. This is one that they repeat time and time again. In 2016, Marzulli claimed, and this was the video that was up that then got taken down, that he was talking to Remember the original story on Art Bell's show? They had the guy who flew the helicopter. And Marzulli claims that he has now talked to the anonymous Mr. K. And Mr. K was one of the guys who shot the giant and killed
Is this unrelated to the K
like Kandahar?
No. But there was a K, the Bible school. The
K, maybe
K something.
Yeah, the Koinonia house. So yeah, it could be that that's a reference to that.
Okay.
Like he's baked in this thing. Oh, like wink.
Yeah. Or it's just a coincidence. But
or
this
it
is the
stands
guy
for Kandahar. You know.
I thought was it Kandahar with a K or a C?
It's a K.
Oh, okay.
He claimed that he interviewed this guy, and that video was taken down.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still videos. He has another video that's pretty recent where he interviews a guy whose grandmother lived in Kandahar in Afghanistan, or his dad grew up there, and says that his grandmother used to go and sacrifice animals at the cave entrance to these giant beings.
There you go.
After the 2016 story initially breaks, and like I said, it spreads everywhere, and you have all these YouTube videos and people who keep repeating the story and talking about it. You then get others who like start claiming to also be, oh yeah, I served in Kandahar and I saw weird things. And so there's copycats.
Yeah.
So I actually know somebody who served in Kandahar.
Oh, okay.
In 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reached out to them and I said, hey, you ever hear of the Kandahar Giant?
Mm-hmm.
And they said yes.
Oh.
And then I asked to clarify, was this when you were in Kandahar or after? And they said after they came home, they heard about it in like 2016.
Oh.
They never heard about it in Kandahar while they were there.
That says something, doesn't it?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But we do know that in 2008, there was a story on Art Bell about...
but it wasn't necessarily a story that people there were telling. Okay.
Now, this is where I'm going to fire shots at another YouTube channel, biting up, at the big dogs. There's a YouTube channel called Mr. Ballin.
Okay.
And he basically tells true crime stories. And he just tells you about times people were murdered and weird supernatural things and stuff. And he was Special Forces and was supposedly in Kandahar at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so he shared the story in 2020 of the Kandahar Giant on his channel.
Okay.
He claims in the video that he heard it from an interpreter when he was there. And he said he was there in 2014, but that's the same year that the person I know was in Kandahar, and they didn't hear the story there.
Okay, well.
And then the version that Mr. Baldwin shares is just the L.A. Marzulli story.
Okay, so that's nothing new.
He even cites the anonymous Mr. K as somebody who told the story. Mm-hmm. And so again, it's like, dude, you're just repeating this stuff. So I'm kind of, do better.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of dead ends to me, this whole thing.
Yeah. So there's nothing there, man.
No.
It's all made up to push this biblical story. I want to go a little bit deeper, though.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So we talked about L.A. Marzulli.
Mm-hmm.
He is sponsored by he's Steve Quayle's fucking gold thing sponsors him.
Uh-huh.
So they're all interconnected. These guys all working together to push these stories.
Yeah.
He also is sponsored by Chuck Norris sponsors him.
Nice.
And gives him money for his shit. So another reason to say fuck Chuck Norris, because that guy's a right-wing piece of trash.
Oh, is he?
I know he's bad.
I haven't
He's
been
bad.
paying attention.
And what are you gonna do? Come fight me, you 80-year-old fuck? I don't give a shit.
Oh boy, Cody's just trying to stir up everything on this episode. Come at me, Chuck Norris.
Bruce Lee killed Chuck Norris in the fucking Roman Coliseum in 1973. I seen it. Steve Quayle has another website, and this one is chef's kiss for crazy, Garth. This is
I like how you're walking us through all the things that gave you a raging headache while you researched.
Yes.
Okay.
Gen 6 Giants. That's Gen, Gen, the number 6.
Okay.
Giants.com.
Oh.
Garth, please look it up on your thing. I want you to see
Gen 6 Giants. Okay.
.com.
Get this together.
Because you were going to see an image that is going to probably fill you with rage.
Gen?
G.
Gen.
Like Genesis 6. Because that's when the Giants are mentioned in the Bible.
Please wait while your request is being verified. Gen 6. Oh, hey, it's the fucking it's the cliff dwellings.
And look what's behind them.
There's Mesa Verde, and then there's a big giant with red hair standing on one side of it.
Well, he's got blue skin.
He built the things I saw on my
Or
road trip.
they're claiming that they had to move up there to avoid the giants. They're hiding from the giant in their cliff dwellings.
Yeah, that doesn't track because you can see the cliff dwellings from the next mesas over, so they're not that hidden.
But the giants can't get to them, is the point.
You could walk right up the hillsides. It's not that steep. The cliffs.
Well, that just shows you that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't. A giant would have no trouble traversing any of that area. Judging by this, the giant's about 30 feet tall. Yeah, no, wouldn't be a problem.
One of the things these guys do is to misinterpret and misrepresent archaeological evidence.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few that they
Some of the art on this website is amazing.
Oh yeah, like I said, like one of those early, like late '90s websites, man.
It's something to behold.
It is, and it has another Bible quote on it. I give command and I bring them. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath.
I'm gonna stop looking at this so I can pay attention to you. Okay, yes.
Rejoicing at the same time and insulting. Isaiah 13:3.
Isaiah.
You say
Isaiah. I say Isaiah.
Apparently it's not. It's Sariah, which I did not know.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not Saria, which is what I always thought when I played Ocarina of Time.
And Legends they call the wind
anyway,
Sariah.
So they misinterpret these sites as all being made either by giants or response to giants. So like the mound building culture of the Mississippi Valley, like Cahokia, they claim that there are indigenous stories about wars with giants.
Okay.
And they say every single culture, every indigenous culture in the Americas has the same story about fighting a war against giants.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they destroyed the giants, they piled up their bones and covered them in dirt. And that's what built the mounds. Or maybe sometimes they say that the mounds themselves were built by giants. Either way, it's giants.
It's giants, okay.
And the one that's even more baffling to me is the fucking balls on these guys. Like in Marzulli's videos, he goes to the actual sites and is standing there and like talking to the camera about this fucking bullshit. He took the time to go to Machu Picchu.
Just and to tell his story.
Just to say that it was made by giants.
Uh-huh. Oh boy.
It's like
yeah.
Yeah, you have to be a whole level of woefully ignorant or intentionally misleading to do these things.
Well, and these are sacred sites to people. Like, it's very disrespectful to just go up and spout your conspiracy theories like right there. Like, come on.
They like
not
to say
a lot of class.
They like to say the island of Catalina. Of Catalina wine mixer fame.
Fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Had giants on it at one time, and this is a partially true story. There was this guy who lived on Catalina Island who...
He was a tall guy.
No, this guy was just he just self-styled himself as an archaeologist at a time when it was still the Wild West of archaeology. And he just started digging up burial mounds, and then he like built a quote-unquote museum where he displayed all these bones in a shed on his ranch. Because it was just, he like was a rancher who had land on there and just started, he's like, well, I own the land, so I'm just going to start digging into this shit.
Mm-hmm.
They say there's pictures that he took where if you look at based on their own, they just assume that something in there is like a certain size. And then using that, they're like, oh, that skeleton is 10 feet tall.
This is why you need to do banana for scale in photos.
But bananas are different sizes.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's a plantain. If that's a plantain, then that guy is 17 feet tall.
Good point.
So, just fucking misrepresenting shit.
Yeah.
Intentionally to push their narrative.
Not cool.
And then it gets into aliens.
Giant aliens.
Because here's the thing, Garth.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but everybody else does.
Oh, okay. I probably don't.
Aliens are fallen angels. And
that makes perfect sense.
Impregnate women to make Nephilim.
Oh, okay. So those are half angel, half humans.
Yes, they're fallen angel human hybrids of the Nephilim.
Give me some examples of famous Nephilim.
He probably would say any giant that appears in any mythology anywhere.
Abi-Yo-Yo.
Obviously Goliath the Canaanite.
Okay.
The
Jolly Green.
Jolly Green Giant, all the Muffler Men, and some Rocket Men.
Okay. So these are all Nephilim
giants. Giants they were, Garth.
with angel fathers and human mothers. That
Fallen
would be
angel, demonic,
something to carry to term. Oof.
And so they believe that aliens are real, but they're fallen angels.
Okay.
This guy, Marzulli.
I saw aliens in the artwork of that website.
Marzulli, oh man, I just got dizzy. Marzulli went to Peru and somehow greased enough palms so that he could take a DNA sample from an elongated skull.
Oh.
You know, the longest skin skulls where they pressed.
They would bind the skulls while people were growing.
He claimed,
so
and then he had
then
he had a quote unquote team of experts, including a tour guide and a guy who is a chiropractor. Apparently they did DNA analysis, and he's like, I can just tell you it's not human.
Okay.
It's like, no, it is.
Is that how DNA analysis works? Okay.
Or claiming that it like has haplotypes that belong to the wrong part of the world, and these are hybrids from giants.
Oh, okay.
Incredibly infuriating.
Yeah, I can tell just by your shaking. Yes.
Yeah, and
the anthropologist is just like, yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah, you know, like when they said, so watching his video, I was like, as I'm watching this video, he then has an intro that's his standard intro theme music that's like this ever-increasing speedy montage of like images of him all over the globe and like giants and artwork and ancient sites, and he just goes faster. And then there's like a big old boom, and it resolves on this like awful CGI like Life of Brian type writing that says, on the trail of Nephilim. And so I'm watching it, and I'm just like, there's my head's like starting to like, it's like the movie Scanners, you know? and then
his head explodes.
I almost vomited. It's like, ugh. It's so fucking bad. It's so fucking offensive.
Yeah.
And on one hand,
people put a lot of time into this, and it's just
and in the past,
real.
You know, we've always had this rule about like, well, you know, you don't go after people's religious beliefs, but this is predatory.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this.
When you are selling this shit and this misinformation.
No,
selling DVDs.
They're fair game. This isn't like,
getting involved in things that are later proved to be hoaxes. And like, there was a couple years ago a fucking supposedly fairy mummy, and he like made a DVD and started selling it, but then found out it was a hoax, but continued to sell the DVD for a while before like telling people. So it's just a bunch of disingenuous bullshit to make money on that Gen 6 Giants website and Shaw's website. And Quayle's website, they're selling like colloidal silver and like colloidal silver. Yeah, it's this. It'll cure your COVID. It'll cure everything. It'll also turn you fucking blue.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it'll dye your skin blue.
I'm not blue enough. That's maybe I should get myself some colloidal silver.
And then also selling the precious metals, which you find out like
because he has the whole gold thing, right?
Yes, his videos are
cash
like
for gold.
Yeah, it's that you should invest in gold bullion. He was selling gold and silver Trump coins at one point,
of course.
Yeah, so it's like it's a money making scheme. It's a scam, man.
Sounds
it's
like
just
a
big scam that's incredibly harmful. And yeah, fuck it, fuck them, fuck them. Yeah, fuck it.
Let's do it. That was a hard pill to swallow. We should have a palate cleanser with a little Garth's Corner.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's do
it.
All right.
Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with concrete limbs astride from land to land. Here our sea-washed sunset gate shall stand, a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning of her name. Mother of exiles, from her beacon hand blows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that Twin Cities frame. Keep ancient lands, you storied pomp, cries she, with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. The golden door that's right next to Garth's Corner. Welcome to Garth's Corner. This is a corner where I will be talking about giants in art.
Now, do you mean, like, big names in art?
Yes, the giants of art. No, I mean really tall sculptures of humanoids.
Okay.
Now, I was going to do the largest ones because you always think Statue of Liberty and then which ones are bigger. And there's all over the continent,
There's one in
all over
India.
the world.
It's fucking huge.
There's
Freakishly, mind-bogglingly huge, and it's in the middle of goddamn nowhere.
Yeah, there are several. A lot of them are to do with like a lot of them are Buddhist and Hindu.
Oh yeah,
some of the big ones. Some are nationalism.
Speaking of Afghanistan and the giants, they had those 2 giant Buddhas in Afghanistan. The Taliban blew up.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was a terrible.
The only real giants in Afghanistan were the Buddha statues, and the only real monsters is the Taliban.
That's right. So, let me. I had to narrow my scope because
it's too big.
It's too big. Yeah, the scope was too big. So we're just going to be talking about going back to the first one that came to my head is the Statue of Liberty.
Some call it the new Colossus.
That's right. So, it was designed originally by Frédéric Auguste Bartoli. He was a French sculptor. He, at a young age, briefly fought in the Franco-Prussian War. Spent 7 years trying to think of a good statue to symbolize the American spirit. He went to New York in the 1870s.
See, if he'd been a few decades later, he would have come to America and seen cheeseburgers, but those weren't around yet. Like,
no.
How do I exemplify
if only,
America?
Yeah, if he had come a little later,
burger.
you would have had a giant cheeseburger statue in New York Harbor. But unfortunately, anyway, he was pretty well known at that point, so he actually did this big American tour. And went to New York. He was amazed by everybody dashing around and all of the lack of order and social consistency. It was the Wild West from his perspective. He got to meet President Ulysses S. Grant. He painted a portrait of Brigham Young, the Mormon. And he was continually sending letters back to his homeland, to his mother actually, and he kept talking about how he just couldn't think of a good sculpture for America. He just had this in his head for 7 years. He wanted to do it, and he done a few huge sculptures in back in France. Like there was one really big lion, and he did some other ones. But he's like, oh, I gotta think of something. His original design for this was actually something he'd planned for the Suez Canal, and he finally got it together that it would be what is now the Statue of Liberty. And he did a bunch of clay designs to kind of work out all the details. But it took a while because this was his own project. It wasn't funded by the government right away. So he was trying to raise money. It was a big part of this.
If I remember correctly, because I think it's actually in the Strange Stories and Amazing Facts, or True Stories and Amazing Facts book, he toured around with pieces of it beforehand.
That was part of raising the money, getting people psyched about it.
He's look, this is just her left cheek and
yeah.
eye. Imagine how big this will be.
That's a lot of this. Yeah, exactly. So
I don't understand why. I mean, he didn't need to melt down all those pennies to do it. He's like, I need to collect pennies so I can melt them down for copper so I can build this thing.
So he did do exactly what you're describing, and he built little sections of it. Like for a while, you had the hand holding the torch, and it was displayed at a World's Fair.
And people could go up in there.
Oh yeah, because if you go to the actual, I've never been to the real Statue of Liberty, but you can climb up inside and actually go all the way to the top.
Not anymore.
Well, it's possible to do that. They probably have it closed now, but you can do it. There's staircases all throughout. Yeah, so he over several years, because he was trying to do it for the American Centennial. So this is 1876. Missed it by 10 years. It took a while to get this together, and there was a lot to it. A lot of it was just how do you practically make a statue? He's not carving this thing. So money kept running out, and then he kept having to try to get it together, and they would stall this and that, and like I said, the World's Fair. He hired originally his mentor Eugene Reduc, who he was the guy who restored Notre Dame back when it needed restoration, and he was going to
had a bunch of hunchback damage.
Yeah, he was going to make the interior of the statue out of bricks. Eventually, he died.
And then the new engineer decided, all right, screw the bricks. This is Gustav Eiffel of Eiffel Tower fame. And so he created a central structure that was cantilevered to withstand like hurricane winds. So he built a central pylon that was the spine of it, and the rest is sort of built on top of it with 2-inch iron pipes. And then you have like 1/10 of an inch thick copper that makes the skin of this whole thing. And it's actually quite flexible. It can stretch and expand about 3 inches without cracking, and about 5 inches up at the arm.
Wow!
So it has a little bit of give to it, which you need considering like temperature changes, winds. You want it to have a little flexibility.
And when it was first built, it was shiny and new.
It was, yeah. It was a different color. It took about 30 years for it to get its green patina because it's made of copper.
Yeah.
So it was like copper colored for a while. They built the whole thing in France by 1884, and there's like a photo of it just like in France, like on the sidewalk and like towering above all of the buildings around there. So they built the whole thing, brought back the pieces they'd been touring, put it all together, made sure it all looked good. Then they broke it apart again and shipped it over to the U.S. in 214 different crates. And by then,
they still didn't have a place to put it.
New York Harbor had not finished their pedestal, so that was a whole.
That was the deal, right? Yeah,
they had to raise more money for that.
Yeah, wasn't that the deal's like, the U.S. had to put up for the pedestal.
Exactly, yeah, because the pedestal, if you look at it, the pedestal is about as tall as the statue that stands on it, and so that took a whole bunch of extra time. So even when they had the statue, they couldn't put it up right away because they weren't done with the pedestal. Fortunately, the federal government owned the island they wanted to do it on, so it was easy for Grant to just sign an executive order making the military base the place for the statue. They still had to do extra funding. Pulitzer helped raise about $100,000. Mostly, I think 80% of it was in small donations less than $1. So it was just like a big grassroots.
Adjusted for inflation, $1.
A dollar was worth something back then. Yeah, this is late 1800s. The Arm and Torch went on more exhibitions in Philadelphia, still trying to get money. Finally, it was installed in 1886. President Grover Cleveland vetoed a bill to help finish construction, so then they got stalled again.
What a dick.
Yeah, Grover Cleveland. Come on, man. They were so close. So when it was finally put together, everybody's really excited about it, and they took a bunch of pictures, and it was super important. A bunch of suffragettes at the time gave speeches around it. One of their things was like, "Hey, it's a lady. Maybe we need to be able to vote. This is symbolizing democracy, and we can't vote."
And it's the first thing many people saw when they came to America.
Yeah, and the poem, "Give Me Your Poor, Tired, Huddled Masses,"
the New Colossus.
Yeah, was written by Emma Lazarus, and she wrote that poem
referencing the Colossus of Rhodes.
Yes.
I was gonna say it was bright and copper colored when it was seen by Feifel Mouskowitz.
Oh, okay. Was that the mouse thing?
Yeah.
You referenced before
People
that I
were
had
so delighted that you did not know and do not know.
What was the thing that I haven't seen? What is
An American Tale? It's an animated movie.
And it's mice?
It's Steven Spielberg.
It's mice.
Talking about the true story about his grandfather's journey to America. Fun fact, his grandfather was a cartoon mouse.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So that's the hook, is that they're all mice.
Yeah.
Are there humans in this world?
Yes.
Or oh, okay. So it's just there's mice immigrants too.
Yes.
Did they have to go through Ellis Island and
Yes.
they got their names messed up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, it's accurate.
I better watch that movie.
It'll make you cry.
Anyway, that's basically Garth's Corner. I just thought I'd bring it up because it's nice to see what America can aspire to sometimes.
Well, we didn't get any stats. How tall? Did you say how tall it was?
That's pretty tall. I don't know.
God damn it.
I was just interested in the construction. I'm not going to give you a bunch of numbers. You can look it up. It's very tall. The face, you could climb in its nose if you wanted.
I think the thing is that it's tall, but it's not as tall as people think it is.
Well, people have a funny. I mean, okay.
Because I've seen Mount Rushmore. And looks that's pretty big.
Like when you look at it
in
in Ghostbusters, it's way too tall. I think for Ghostbusters, like people can climb up into the crown and stick their heads out, but it's not like you can have a party in the head. You can only fit a few people.
You can fit a few people in my head. There's always a party in there.
It's always a party in my head.
You gotta, feel good vibrations. Otherwise, the bad slime, doesn't work. It's gotta be good slime.
There you go.
Ghostbusters.
So that's been Garth's Corner. Big old statues. We need more of them. We need more big statues. That's what I say.
Yes and no. It's like I used to think like, man, wouldn't it be cooler if we had like more just things carved out of mountains? And I was like, no, it wouldn't be.
Well, it depends on
I
the
mean,
mountain.
it would, but no.
People are impressed by big things.
I've been to Mount Rushmore, and I've been to the unfinished Crazy Horse Monument.
Oh, that looks cool. I can't wait for that to be done.
Problematic as fuck, dude.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, god damn it. So that's the problem with these things. When it takes so many years for them to get built that by the time they're done, they're already like totally old-fashioned.
The choice of picking Crazy Horse in particular, when he was somebody who famously did not want to be photographed or have his image recorded, and then to like take a sacred mountain and then carve it into his shape, it's just a little.
Well, can't they just change the face and make it somebody else?
I don't know. Anyway, giants aren't real. L.A. Marzulli is a fraud.
The Statue of Liberty was pretty. It's made out of very thin copper. Those are our takeaways.
Those are our takeaways. Yeah. Okay. Monster Squadron.
Oh, before we get to that, I have one more letter.
Oh, we got a letter.
It's addressed the corner up here where it has the return address just says Jeff in the farmhouse wall.
Another Jeff.
This was sent to At Least Haunted at P.O. Box 22, Redwood Estates, California 95044. This is our third letter
from Jeff. And this one was routed through Georgia.
This is through Georgia. So we're getting them from different places.
Well,
Jeff
is
different handwriting.
The Holy Spirit. The Holy Ghost. Hey.
Here it is. This is the only thing. It's just a piece of paper in here.
And it's a picture of a mongoose. Taxidermy mongoose.
Uh-huh.
And the word balloon says, I am the eighth wonder of the world. Picture of that on our Tumblr.
I love that we're going to have to post all of these up next to each other. This is a great... I hope they keep coming. Delighted
too.
Cody's taking a picture right now.
Yeah, and I've also thrown out the invitation to other cryptids. It doesn't, Jeff doesn't have to be the only one getting in on the fun. Mothman, hit us up. Bigfoot, hit us up.
Jeff is the most talkative of all those guys. I'm not surprised he keeps hitting us up. That's a beautiful taxidermied mongoose. And the mongoose is screaming. He's like, ah!
Oh, yeah.
I am the eighth wonder of the world.
I am the eighth wonder of the world!
Wonderful. Well, that made my day. Thank you, Jeff, wherever you are, somewhere in Georgia.
And thank you, Monster Squadron patron producers on Patreon.
Oh, perhaps you could enumerate them.
Enumerate?
A list.
That'd be numbers.
Illustrate them. List them. Name them.
Travis Alexander, The Barbarian, Rachel Krieger, Tom Dahl, Justin Duckham, Kelly Flynn, Gunnar Franks, Carla Harrington, Havelock, Christina Hurley, New Jared, Ken with 2 N's, TJ Levenhagen, Alicia Overton, Jordan Ramey, a different one but the same one, Blue Roan, Fan, and Tatum.
Thank you, one. Thank you, all. We love you, and you keep the lights on so we can keep doing this. So we're very appreciative of our Monster Squadron.
Yeah, and I don't know what the next episode's gonna be, but that's nothing new. At least I didn't have to read a book for this one this time.
Thank goodness.
Oh man, but I would have rather read a book if it wasn't about this.
We should. The next topic should be something that delights you.
Okay, I will try to figure out something that delights me for the next episode. Actually, next episode we might be into Pride Month.
There you go. So we could pick something cool. Yeah, you're right, because June's coming.
Yes. Okay. Well,
like a hurricane. All right.
If you have suggestions,
please.
Yeah, on the Discord, join our Discord. There's a link in the show notes. Wherever you're watching this, there's a link that will take you to the Discord. You can join in there, and then find episode discussion channel and just say, hey, here's an idea.
Yeah.
Talk about this.
That would be great. It's always nice to get people suggesting things that we can try.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't have thought of. All right, guys.
Okay, so
that was an episode, wasn't it? Until
next time, as we say every time, the only thing... sorry. That's not right.
Is that...
blah, 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 blah. So remember, until next time, the only thing that's haunted...
is you.
Not giant.
Laughing.
At this point, the training kicks in with these guys. Someone, and the shooter thinks it might have been him, yells, "Shoot him in the head, shoot him in the head." And they just blast this guy's face apart.
Big guns. They had semi-automatic weapons.
308s, 50 cals.
M50s, and basically shot the giant in the chest and in the head, in the face, and actually blew the bottom part of the giant's face off.
Which killed him.
The Least Haunted podcast is recorded before a dead studio audience and is a presentation of Sequoidea Productions, LLC.